Government tightens up restrictions as it battles to contain the surge in COVID-19 cases. That's our top story in your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Thursday, September 9. It's not lockdown, but Barbados will slow down for the next 2 weeks as health authorities ramp up action to get a grip on the fast-spreading coronavirus. In a national address this evening, Prime Minister Mia Mottley announced changes to the curfew among other measures.
We're going to have to slow down a little bit. I gave this country the assurance on Tuesday, we're not locking down. And the more I've gone on the ground, the more I know that we cannot lock down because the people who will be affected by it are simply too many, and the numbers may actually be far more than what we may even lose from COVID. But the bottom line is that COVID ultimately is our immediate threat. And it is against that background that sometimes, as I said, in a marathon, you may have to slow down, even if you don't lock down.
Insisting that vaccination remains the biggest tool in government's arsenal to fight the deadly virus, Mottley says her administration has made it a priority to vaccinate as many students as possible over the next 5 weeks.
I want us as a country, please, to set the target that within the next 5 weeks, that to the middle of October, that we are capable of vaccinating as many of our students as possible. And why? Because those persons need to be able to get back into functional school. And there's so many parents who are already asking, but why can't we do it? We recognize that there are some schools, and the Ministry of Education will set out the criteria, that might meet this target quicker than others. And who do we need to help us meet this target? We need the PTAs, we need the teachers, we need the parents, we need the class groups. And the parents in the class group saying, our children want to go back to school, our children have been vaccinated, we want to get back there. And we need to do this with a target for the middle of October.
Declaring that there are more than 75,000 vaccines on island, government will not only be taking the vaccine to communities, but it's enlisting the help of private doctors to administer the jab free of cost.
The Minister of Health this morning also issued a directive to his officials that as a matter of policy, that the government of Barbados now will extend the opportunity to private doctors to help also in the vaccination campaign. And that is absolutely critical if we are to meet where we want to go, so that this slowdown that we're doing in the next 2 weeks and possibly 4 weeks will be contextualized against how we can increase our vaccination rates and how we can minimize our hospitalization and minimize the number of deaths. We accept and have been meeting with BAMP such that those private doctors that will be brought on board, the government will pay them to be able to administer the vaccine so that they do not have to charge any citizen either for the vaccine or for the literal using and administering the vaccine on any patient. This is not meant to charge anyone, and the government will stand in the breach for all Barbadians with respect to vaccines.
The Ministry of Health's mobile vaccination campaign rolled into Deacon's Farm St. Michael and Silver Hill Christchurch today. When a Barbados Today team visited those locations, several people were making their way to get the jab. At the Deacon's location, Nurse Shepherd said the interest was good. She said there was a steady flow of persons, particularly from students. According to the latest COVID-19 figures, the island recorded 78 new cases from the 1,387 tests conducted by the Barbados Santos Public Health Laboratory. The new positive cases comprise 60 people who are 18 years and over, 17 who are under the age of 18, and 1 person whose age is unknown. There are 636 people in isolation. Health Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick today acknowledged the steady rise in cases. He noted that while there's much to be done to turn the tide, the island's healthcare system is still on top of the situation.
We are managing the situation with the resources that we have. We are very cognizant of the fact that it is not only COVID that we have to deal with, but the entire healthcare system. And this is something that we have been watching with a very careful eye over the last several days. We are still in a position to deliver a standard of healthcare that we can all be proud of as Barbadians. But when you experience delays in the delivery of the healthcare that you expect. It is because we are trying to move a number of parts, so to speak, when we have cases coming in and we have to deploy personnel to the various facilities. So at this point in time, we are in a position where there must be concern expressed by all, and also there must be a desire on the part of each and every one of us as citizens and residents of this country to contribute towards the country getting out of the situation that we are in at the moment.
Barbados has recorded 5,651 confirmed cases of the virus since March 2020. The death toll from COVID-19 is 51. Under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, 35.4% of the population have been given second doses and are now fully vaccinated.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional happenings, the government of Guyana firmly rejects an agreement signed by the Venezuelan government and one opposition party agreeing to unite on the question of long-standing claim of ownership of a large swath of Guyana. More in this report from News Source Guyana.
Diplomatic Matters report now the Venezuelan government and opposition have taken an official decision to unite around the country's claim of Guyana's Essequibo region, prompting the government of Guyana to again reject the claim. There are reports that the Venezuelan government and opposition have signed an accord maintaining the neighboring country's claim over Guyana's Essequibo region, a claim which has been ongoing for decades. The two sides in Venezuela are also rejecting the involvement of the International Court of Justice to enforce a final juridical settlement in the matter. In a statement this morning, the Guyana government said it firmly rejects the agreement signed by the heads of delegation of the Venezuelan government and the opposition unity platform, explaining that the agreement is an overt threat to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Guyana. The statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Guyana cannot be used as an altar of sacrifice for settlement of Venezuela's internal political differences. And while the government of Guyana welcomes domestic accord within Venezuela, an agreement defying international law and process is not a basis for mediating harmony. The Guyana government said the controversy between Guyana and Venezuela is properly before the International Court of Justice and will remain there for a peaceful resolution.
On the international front, Britain has approved plans to turn away boats illegally carrying migrants to its shores, deepening the rift with France over how to deal with a surge of people risking their lives by trying to cross the canal in small dinghies. More in this report from Reuters TV.
Crossing the English Channel may be about to get even more dangerous for those seeking a new life in the UK, under plans approved by Britain to turn away boats illegally carrying migrants to its shores. Britain's border officials will now be trained to force boats away from its waters, with Prime Minister Boris Johnson's spokesman saying they were looking at safe and legal ways to do so. Charities said the plans could be illegal. Channel Rescue, a citizen patrol group on the English coast, said international maritime law stipulated that ships have a clear duty to assist those in distress. The move risks deepening a diplomatic rift with France over how to deal with the surge of people crossing the English Channel in dinghies. Hundreds of small boats have attempted the journey across what is one of the world's busiest shipping lanes so far this year. This summer saw a record number of attempted crossings. One day in August saw at least 482 migrants making the journey. France's Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin has said forcing boats back towards the French coast would be dangerous and that the United Kingdom must stick to its commitments on migrant crossings. In July, France and Britain agreed to deploy more police and invest in detection technology to clamp down on channel crossings.
That's news, but for the very latest, you can visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.